The sound of flowers blooming. 1. The question. Kitty was 4 years old and full of questions. She asked questions in the morning when the sun was still yawning. She asked questions at lunchtime while her sandwich was getting smaller and smaller. She asked questions at bedtime when her teddy bear was already snoring. One spring afternoon, Kitty sat in her grandmother's garden, swinging her feet under the old wooden bench. She looked at the rows of flowers, tulips, daisies, and forget-me-nots, all swaying in the gentle wind.
Grandma, what does a flower sound like when it blooms?
Kitty asked. Grandma smiled the way people do when they are holding a little secret.
Ah, that's a very special sound. Not everyone can hear it.
Kitty's eyes grew round as raindrops.
Can you hear it?
Sometimes, but only when I'm very, very quiet inside.
Kitty thought about that. She had been quiet before, like when she played hide and seek and didn't want to be found, but quiet inside sounded different. What did that mean? 2. The garden secret. That night, Kitty couldn't stop thinking about the sound of flowers blooming. She imagined it might be like a tiny pop, or maybe a soft whoosh, or perhaps it sounded like the click of a light switch turning on. The next morning, Kitty decided to investigate. She packed her very important explorer kit, which included 1. A magnifying glass. 2. Her sparkly pink notebook. 3. 2 crayons, purple and green. 4. A piece of strawberry candy for emergencies. She tiptoed into Grandma's garden, which smelled like sunshine mixed with something sweet.
Good morning, flowers. Today, I'm going to hear you bloom.
She sat cross-legged on the grass and stared at a tulip bud. She waited, and waited, and waited some more. After 10 minutes, Kitty's legs were tickly from the grass, but she hadn't heard anything except a bee humming nearby.
Maybe you're shy.
Kitty told the tulip.
That's okay. I'm shy sometimes too.
3. A visitor. Just when Kitty was thinking about using her emergency strawberry candy, she heard a faint rustle. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't the bee. It was something else. A little voice said,
"You're in my sunbeam."
Head spun toward the sound, and there was the creature she had ever seen. It had wings like pieces of rainbow glass and hair, the color of dandelion fluff.
Who are you?
"I'm Luma."
The creature said, brushing a speck of pollen off her skirt.
"I'm a bloom sprite. My job is to help flowers open when the time is right."
Kitty gasped.
You mean you know the sound of flowers blooming?
Of course. I make the sound of flowers blooming.
Luma said, smiling. 4. Learning to listen. Luma explained.
Most people can't hear it because they're too busy listening to everything else. Cars, phones, their own thoughts. To hear a bloom, you need garden ears.
What are garden ears?
They're not real ears. They're what you grow when you sit very still, breathe very slow, and let your heart feel curious instead of noisy.
Kitty wanted garden ears more than anything, so she tried. She closed her eyes. She took slow, soft breaths. She thought about how much she loved Grandma's flowers and how much she wanted to hear their secret. At first, Kitty only heard a bird calling from a tree. Then she heard a bee buzz past. Then, Kitty opened one eye.
Was that a bloom?
Luma giggled.
That was your tummy.
Kitty blushed.
Oops.
5. The first bloom. They tried again. This time, Kitty didn't think about lunch or the bee or even her itchy socks. She just thought about how a flower might feel tight and sleepy in its green bed, stretching toward the warm sun. And then she heard it. It was softer than a whisper, but brighter than a belting, like a raindrop falling on glass. Kitty's mouth made a silent, "Oh."
That's it?
That's it. That's the sound of a tulip saying hello to the world.
Kitty's heart felt fizzy, the way it did when she blew bubbles and they floated away without popping. 6. Bloom day. All day, Kitty listened. She heard a daisy sound plip, like a pebble in a pond. She heard a rose, like someone opening a secret envelope. She even heard a sunflower thwomp, like a pillow falling over. Each sound was different, but they all made Kitty feel the same inside, warm and light and full of wonder. When the sun began to slide behind the trees, Luma said,
I have to go now. Bloom work is busy work.
Kitty felt a little sad.
Will I ever see you again?
Luma's eyes twinkled.
Every time you hear a flower bloom, that's me saying hello.
7. The gift. That evening, Kitty told Grandma all about Luma and the gardeneers. Grandma listened without interrupting, smiling as if she knew something Kitty didn't. When Kitty finished, Grandma handed her a small round tin. Inside was a pair of tiny wooden ear-shaped charms on a string.
These are to remind you to listen not just with your ears, but with your heart.
Kitty hung them on the bedpost that night. As she drifted toward sleep, she thought she heard it again ting, right outside her window. And she smiled, knowing the garden was saying goodnight. 8. The moral. The next day, Kitty didn't just listen to flowers. She listened to the laughter of her friends, to the rustle of leaves, to the sound of her own giggle bouncing off the walls. Because now she knew that the world was full of secret sounds. You just had to grow your garden ears.